Guys, what's up? It's AB Trades here, and we're going to do our daily video where we talk about the stocks to watch. So before I mention the stocks to watch, if you've never visited this channel, I'm AB Trades and I teach people how to day trade options and a couple other things. We just hit 2,000 subscribers and I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. Third, I know y'all are wondering what this is here. It's a new volume thing we're looking at. I got it from YouTube channel Boiling Room, YouTube. He trades stocks mainly, more of like the penny stock route, and he also does earnings. But he came out with this indicator for volume. So usually on your volume, I'm not going to waste too much time with this, but you can go into the volume, you can click overlap, and on appearances, you can make the color the same as the candles. Okay, the only problem that I've seen with that is people are mistaking that color of the of the volume to be how many buyers are present and how many sellers are present. That's not true. No matter how many buyers or sellers happen in this candle, it will take the same color as the candle. So it's not showing you much actually in reality. But looking at this here, this actually shows how many buyers we have versus how many sellers we have at this specific price point. It shows you the current bar, what the percentage of sellers are in the market. And this is, I thought, was very interesting to see. It also gives you the average volume each day, and then it shows you what's happening today and it updates it in the moment. So we reached 70% of the average volume, right? So that shows that our volume's a bit lower today. And I just wanted to include this link below. Again, it's not mine, but you can have access to it if you click the description below. It should be the first link. Alright guys, getting to the video now. Sorry for wasting your time. As always, we discuss SPY first, which is the S&P 500 ETF. So if you're seeing here, we have this range of resistance here that we bounced into yesterday. Our next range here is in between 270.20 and 268.50. So this is where we're going to find some support, and we're also going to find some support here at the middle line at 275. This will be our middle grounds here. So we're looking for a resistance zone here, a support zone here, and our line in the sand is right here. So looking for it to happen is we're kind of looking for this pullback. I wanted to see more of a pullback, but we actually, had some buyers step up. We had a lot of sellers on this one, and we made about 70% of sellers today, which is why we have this this pullback here. We should be expecting more of a pullback on SPY, even back down to 275. But again, if we don't get that, our next resistance zone is this. If we can break above the high here at around 281.18, which was the high from yesterday, then we have room to test this next resistance level. So the resistance level we're watching right now is this level. We may have support at 275. We may break above and get up higher. That's just our outlook on SPY. Now let's go through the stocks that people mentioned in the group chat. So looking at first, we mentioned BABA, B-A-B-A. Again, Chinese stock, we've been seeing it run. Again, we were looking at this support at 180. It looks like we kind of pushed down to see if we could test the support, and we closed up higher. So which means we do have some buyers stepping in. The current bar, there's only 16% were sellers today. So that means we may have buyers actually to come in. We did a little bit more than the average volume today. So that's showing that, hey, bulls actually have some momentum here. Let's see if we can find some upside up. We have above 180. So 180 will be acting as our support. And our high will be the high of day today, 184, to see if we can break above. If not, we'll be looking for a test of support. Next stock here would be NVIDIA. NVIDIA here, again, we've been finding some support here on this trend line. We're really finding some consolidation here at around 155.78 and a high of around 164. So this is going to be our zone that we're watching out for. If we can break below this zone, then we'll look to target lower, maybe eventually 130, 140. But if we can break above higher, then we'll be testing this high right here for around 174, and then maybe even higher than that. So we're just trading range bound, and we're waiting for a breakout. Facebook next. Again, we're having support here, or we're seeing some resistance at 166. So 162.5 is support, 166 is resistance. If we break down lower. If we break up higher. Again, we're just trading range bound, and we're waiting for it to break up to a certain point. I haven't had any trades recently because we've just been trading in ranges on most of our stocks. See, the next one mentioned is IWM. This is the Russell 2000 ETF. If you can see here, as mentioned, we have resistance here that we're starting to get pulled back at. Where we're going to find support is at around 154.40, 154.50. So we'll be watching for support to come back down here on IWM to find some support, and then to bounce up higher and make a higher high. Again, we are long-term uptrend, so that means we're going to come up, pull back, find some support, and push up higher. That's what we're expecting on IWM. EA is what we're looking at here. You can see that we actually started to find some support here. We mentioned that we're going to find some support yesterday at around this level of $93. We found some support. Buyers stepped up. Let's see if we can get this move to retest the high of 108.81. So we'll be looking for a retest here after bounce here. Again, if we go down lower, our support that we're watching is $93. Next, we're going to mention JD. JD is as follows. You can see here, nothing too exciting. I don't really see too much on JD. It's trying to show some buyers are actually trying to come in, but still with all these buyers coming in this excess volume, we still can't get much. Probably because earnings is coming up. I will show the date, 2/28. So in 2 days, we have earnings. So that should be the only thing to watch out for on JD, is watch out for those earnings. And throughout this week, we're going to have IV increase, which is going to increase the contract prices regardless of the direction. And then IV is going to get crushed on the day of earnings. So just watch out for that. BB is the next stock mentioned. I never traded this stock before. So I'm going to go to the trade tab. I'm going to look at it real quick. If we can see here, the volume and open interest is surrounded here. 3-cent spread, 1-cent spread. Not the best volume, but it does qualify for what we're allowed to trade. So if you can see here, it looks like we're hitting some resistance here around this point right now. And we have right here. This looks like it is our current resistance zone. You see here, we kind of bounced into here, found some support, and then we found some resistance, and we fell through. Now this is going to act as a resistance on our way up, right? So between 920 and between 868 will be our resistance zone. If we find some resistance here and pull back, then we'll be looking for a retest of lows. If we can get through this level here, then we'll be looking to eventually test highs up around $11. Next stock mentioned, Netflix, NFLX. If we can see here, again, we've been trying to retest, but we are still holding this trend line. I would technically qualify this bottom here and these as a new trend line. This as our longer term trend line, and then we do have support lines here at around 160. So again, we'll be watching 160 for support and resistance at around, let's see if we can get this, 370. So we'll be watching for support at 360 and resistance at 370 on Netflix. Again, we're kind of still range bound in this market with Netflix, with SPY still not wanting to know what it's going to do. Microsoft next. Again, we've been holding this trend here for the past few days. We actually starting to get up above this 100 level 102 area. Again, this is our resistance zone here where we've had some resistance in the past. Now that we dipped into this area, we're either going to be looking for a reversal. As you can see here, we went up in this area, rejected. As you can see before, now we're actually into this level. We can see a pullback down to this trend line or even lower, or if we can get up above, then we'll be testing new highs of 116.18 on Microsoft. Next, we're looking at Square, SQ, not S1, SQ. They're relatively close on the keyboard. If you can see here, we're still consolidating on this point where we haven't quite really wanted to break this high here at around 78.50. So we'll be looking to break this high, and if we can break the high of 78.50, our next resistance will be at around $80. If we can get there, then we get up higher. If we can't trade out of this resistance zone, then we'll be looking for a drop down lower. FXI. This showed itself on some options tables that we were looking at, where it had a lot of options volume come through recently. I think it was on Monday or yesterday. But again, let's get a better look at it. With all this movement here, it's hard because it's an ETF. It's based off of futures, so we don't really see much aftermarket or pre-market, but we still see a lot of action. If you can see here, we're kind of trending up. Again, I really can't get a good feel from it like this. So if we're looking here, it looks like we are uptrending here. I really cannot read this stock because of all the gaps in it. So I really can't say much. If we look at the trade tab here, again, great volume, great other stuff, but again, I can't really read this chart. So it looks like we have resistance here at around 44, support at around 41.50, and support here. We're not going to worry about this support until later, but it looks like we do have a gap to fill here, and then So basically, I don't really know how to read this chart well, but I do know we have a gap here, and more times than not, gaps fill. So we'll be looking at this gap to fill here at around 45 maybe, and then a reversal. Apple and SPY. Well, we already covered SPY. Let's cover Apple real quick. Apple here again is trading range bound, right? Especially if we go out to the daily here, we can see more of that. We're trading range bound. Ugh, I like straight lines, but it's hard to do straight lines fast. All right, so we have a resistance point here at around 175.60, and we're kind of like almost forming this cup and handle pattern. We had this uptrend here. We kind of formed this cup. Now we're looking down to retest this handle. So this is also going to qualify as a cup and handle pattern. Also can be a 1, 2, 3 strategy that we looked at before, right? So we have a trend line of here, so we can watch it pull back to here if we want for that handle, or we can watch that one or that red, yellow, green, or the 1, 2, 3. Where we test resistance 3 times, and on the 3rd time we break out. So we can be watching out for that on Apple. So we'll be watching 375.60 as our breakout zone for that as we start to round down and come back up on Apple. Low, CVS, SPY, TNDM. So low, never traded this before. It looks like lows. We'll look at the trade tab. Decent. Spread of about 15 cents. Again, spread's about too large. I guess you want it mentioned for the earnings coming out before the bell tomorrow. Again, I don't know what to tell you. Again, the stock does have a gap here that filled, and a gap here, and a gap here. We do have a gap here, so we could potentially fill that, but with earnings, I really can't predict a direction. CVS. Again, we're still finding support in this zone. We haven't hit that bottom part of the support yet, which is around $60, $60.14, the lowest to be exact. If we hit $60.14 and we fall through, then we'll be looking to trade lower. If we hit $60.14 and trade higher, then we'll be trading out of this support zone to eventually retest this gap. If we can see here, SPY, we already covered, and TNDM. TNDM, again, have never traded this, so we're going to look at the trade tab real quick. Low volume, bad spread, we're not going to cover that. SQ, already covered. DBX, pretty sure it's Dropbox. Something new, let's look at the trade tab. Volume, okay, spread of 10 cents, spread of 5 cents, not my go-to. Again, probably based off earnings. We have a gap to fill, just watch for this gap to fill. That's all I'm going to say on that one. NVIDIA, covered. AMD, right, I covered NVIDIA. Yes, we covered NVIDIA, AMD, and Walmart. So AMD, again, here we're watching. We saw this pullback. We're kind of breaking through this trend line here. This trend line is now not valid. We're going to remove this trend line here, and we're going to see a pushback down to this major trend line, which is based off these, and we'll see if we can find some support here. Multiple things can happen here. We either have this cup and handle pattern up higher, 1, 2, 3, or we have a pullback to trend line here this far and then push up higher, or fail this trend line and go down lower. Just watch the level of 25 as your major resistance going on from there. Walmart, WMT. Oops. WMT. If you can see here, this is our resistance and supports that we're watching out on WMT. It looks like we have a low here that we're watching out for at around 97.92. That's actually our low for today. So we'll be watching the low of today as our support. If we can get that low up today, if we can find some support there, then we'll be testing resistance on the way back up. If we can't hold this level, then we'll be dropping down. So just watch that level as your turning point. CVS covered, AMD covered. GS Duction said. And then I just got one from TradeR Grill, so we'll make sure we get that. Again, if you don't think you caught me in time when I sent out the @everyone alerts, I do keep the group chat up as I'm making the video so I can cover it. GS Goldman Sachs, usually the trade tab isn't, I guess we're going to have something coming soon. We have a 26-cent spread, not something amazing. Possibly this dividend coming out tomorrow, that's going to drop the price a little. By 80 cents? It's going to drop the price by 80 cents. It looks like we're consolidating a lot here, so just watch for volume to pick up and to pick a direction. Right now we don't have much except consolidation, so just watch for the movement to start. Lolu, this is going to be the last 2 stocks here unless someone comments. Never traded this stock before. Look at trade tab, decent, 20-cent spread. I just don't like that spread. Second, Twitter, TWTR. As you can see here, we're finding some support here at support of 3061. Maybe we can eventually break higher because we do have this gap to fill. This was a partial gap fill, which may be the only gap fill that we'll actually get today, or get in the stock, but eventually we can see a push up higher. But again, if we drop this level, then we'll be looking lower. Again, guys, that is our stocks to watch for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See y'all tomorrow.